what instrument did you play? And did you always like Elton John and Roy Orbison in school?
So I didn't hear the last part of your question, but the instrument that I played growing up was piano. I've been playing since I was 6. And as I told you before we started the interview, I hated it until I was 12. My parents wanted me to play, and eventually my piano teacher said to them, "You're wasting your money on piano lessons. Stop them now." And it was at that point when they stopped getting me lessons that I started getting into the music of Roy Orbison, of Billy Joel, Elton John, these classic rockers who are pianists. I mean, Roy Orbison's not a pianist, but Elton John and Billy Joel are, and I wanted to learn their music. And through learning their music and through playing around, eventually, 10 years later, without a teacher, you can still learn quite a bit on piano. So I started out with piano, but I also just like classic rock music. So I started learning guitar and the bass guitar, and I even bought a cheap drum set from one of my friends and started learning that a little bit. So I just like music all around.
That's nice. And when you were deciding between a major in chemistry or music, was it a difficult choice?
Yeah, so for me, going into, I think once I got to Drexel, I was focused on an engineering degree. And I was trying to think of, what aspect of engineering could kind of allow me to marry my love of music and my love of chemistry and engineering. And at first I thought actually material science and engineering, because, if you're building an instrument, there are going to be, like the strings, or, these days they used to be made out of tightly bound horsehair, but now they're made out of, polymers and, different, metal and polymer twisted, wires and whatnot. So I thought it might be cool to, maybe design a material for those things. But then I went to a career fair, and I think at that point in time, I actually wasn't thinking so much about material science. I was thinking more about chemical engineering. And at least at my experience at that career fair was that most of the companies were looking for people that were interested in process optimization at, like a petrochemical plant. And that wasn't my main. I was more interested in, like, the basic science and, what's going on under the hood? What's the mechanism of this process? How have the atoms arranged themselves? Why is this a good catalyst? So those were the things that interested me. So actually at that point I got interested in chemistry research. And then over time, I think I gradually found myself in the field of material science. And so maybe one day I'll be able to apply what I learned to music. But I think that music to me was always kind of seemed like it was going to be my hobby, something that balanced whatever I did. There was a point in my second year of school where I was thinking very seriously about transferring to the music program. But then I spoke to my mom and she said, "You're absolutely not going to do that." And so I'm glad I made that decision, because then I ultimately found myself where I am now, and I'm super happy.
Yeah. How do you see the role of music going forward in your life?
Yeah, so I mean, my friend and I always joke, if we ever make it big, then we have to quit both of our careers. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a balance. And I think a lot of times it's wonderful to, gain the knowledge that I've accrued over the years in chemistry, because it allows me to see the world in a different way. And if there's a problem that's affecting the world that has a solution in chemistry, I have now the skills to think about that problem and what are actual plausible solutions. So that's a really exciting thing that motivates me a lot. But then there are times when you burn out. And, you could be working, just like nonstop for a month on end. And everyone needs to build into their life, not just the focus of the passion of their heart, but also, creative pursuits. And so for me, if 5 o'clock rolls around, that's when I move over, and literally right next to my desk, where I do my lab work, my computational simulations and whatnot, is my keyboard, and that's connected to my interface where I can actually record music. And so I think that that's crucial. I think if you don't have something like that, it can get very frustrating, and it can build up a lot of anxiety, especially if research is stalling. A lot of times in a research project, things don't go exactly how you planned. In fact, that can sometimes be the exciting part of research. But when that does happen, it can create anxiety. So it's important to be able to then have something else that you can do, something productive that kind of exercises a different part of your brain.
Yeah.